In Seattle, Washington, a group of protesters are imagining a world without cops.
And apparently black people. I guess they're taking the Jetsons approach on solving racism.
We took this place for Black Lives Matter. So if anyone knows any black lives, now would be a good time to say something.
I'm a black life.
All right, for the last time, Indians are not black. We mean like actual black people. White people in Seattle have been waiting to throw a frisbee and call it a movement for years.
They took over a public park announcing it for the people. Yeah, that's what public parks are.
The government already did that. It's like a bunch of handicapped people coming up and being like, we demand a parking spot. And you're like, you have a parking spot.
Inside this autonomous zone, there's free food, murals, and music alongside protests about fighting against police brutality and the government.
I know it sounds like a Rage Against the Machine show, but it's really more like Woodstock 92. A pretty fun weekend that will only be remembered for its tragic end.
So what started this summer of love? Those are the mayor's words, not ours.
I don't know. We could have the summer of love.
God damn it, lady. They're trying to get away from the Woodstock thing.
I never thought I'd miss hot girl summer.
I knew I would.
It all started with the Black Lives Matter protests, which were met with a lot of police brutality.
So much so that the mayor put a ban on gassing citizens. No, not the Geneva Convention one. This is another one. Everyone knows you gotta get at least 2 bans for the cops to listen to anything.
The Geneva Convention one was indefinite. This one was only for 30 days.
The Geneva ban only covers not gassing soldiers. Your own citizens are completely fair game as long as they aren't all wearing the same thing. Like a uniform of some kind. Then that's soldiers.
Seattle's tear gas ban lasted a whopping 12 hours before the police got back to their gassy ways, because even pigs have to sleep.
Bans mean nothing because I'm a coward who is scared of picket signs.
Have you ever gotten a cardboard cut? So much worse than paper.
After the gassing, the police left and protesters set up CHAZ as a police-free zone.
The cops weren't physically forced out so much as they just kind of left on their own because, they had just committed a bunch of crimes.
Hey, we gassed an entire neighborhood, so we should probably get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we gassed like a bunch of babies because people had their windows open. It was bad.
We should definitely leave before they can see us again. They're gonna assume it was us. Let's not give them visual confirmation.
Inside CHAZ has looked fairly peaceful, about as dangerous as a music festival.
Protest area of Cal Anderson where a lot of people are hanging out, waiting for the events of the night to get started.
CHAZ Chop is not Coachella. There's still a lot of work to be done, and there's still a lot of things that still need to happen before we just start lounging around and start relaxing.
This is not Coachella. We still need an event tent, a dome, a Ferris wheel, and at least one band that somebody's heard of. We're getting there, though.
Even festivals have security. At least they aren't charging $8 for water.
They just recently renamed the protest from CHAZ to CHOP.
They were like, CHAZ? Hey, maybe this protest against black oppression shouldn't share a name with some racist dude you met in college.
No, we meant like Chaz Bono. It's about like trans representation or something.
Why'd they change it during Pride then?
CHOP is what trans people do?
Jason Rance is our man on the ground outside the nation of CHOP on the DMZ.
Fox is desperately trying to make this seem like a secession. They even keep writing CHOP U.S. border on the Chiron like it's the Korean demilitarized zone.
CHOP occupies 6 blocks of central Seattle. Most of it is the line for Ben & Jerry's.
Stop trying to get Proud Boys to punch teenagers.
Fox News got caught photoshopping a guy with an assault rifle into CHOP pictures and had to take them down and apologize. You know it's bad if Fox News has to admit that they're wrong.
It's disgusting to see an institution that is supposed to uphold journalistic integrity try and pass off doctored pictures as fact.
We, however, don't have to abide by these rules, because we aren't journalists.
So here's a real picture we found of Sean Hannity punching Bernice King in the stomach.
God, why would he do something like that?
Disgusting.
My name's Noah. This is my first day manning the daytime barricade. I ran the nighttime barricade.
I'm really hoping being at this protest helps my application for grad school at NYU. I'm trying to be like the adult David Hogg.
COVID kind of fucked up my school year before I could get my extra currics up. I'm super thankful for the opportunity these protests have provided me.
They're calling rapper and Airbnb mogul Raz Simone the leader and even warlord, even though that Raz and everyone else keep saying that he's not.
The country is run by a warlord/rapper called Raz, whose last paying job was renting out his own apartment on Airbnb.
Raz Simone, rapper turned terrorist warlord. Like, they call me a monarch on Fox News, bro. I'm not the leader of all these people. I'm always going to protect people.
If there's one thing I know about warlords, They like the recognition.
He's like, stop calling me the leader of the movement.
I know what you guys do to leaders of peaceful movements.
Nobody give the cops my address so they don't Fred Hampton me.
If you want to support the movement further, feel free to rent one of Raz's $1 million Airbnbs in downtown Seattle.
They're calling him a warlord because he carries a gun and is an outspoken member of his community.
If he was just white and sang country music instead, he'd be Republicans' favorite person in Seattle.
How can you call the protesters anarchists and then say that they have a leader? Besides basic hygiene, a leader is the main thing anarchists don't have.
Anarchy isn't a good system of governing things.
You're just mad because your parents are rich and you feel bad about it.
If there were no leaders or businesses or classes, I wouldn't feel so guilty about being on top.
The news is reporting it as a lawless wasteland. And it is. But why is that such a bad thing?
Bum fights and free hot dogs? It sounds like a baseball game if the entire sport was people rushing the field.
Which is the best part about any baseball game.
Anarchy is really only fun at sporting events.
Like streaking and drinking too much in public.
And you know who always ruins that sort of fun? Cops.
Cops. The white supremacist group, the Proud Boys, have been seen going in and starting trouble.
So they are still allowing cops in.
Proud Boys only show up somewhere to start shit. They're like the alt-right's dumber, less organized secret police.
You'll never see a Proud Boy food drive or a Proud Boy children's barbecue.
You can't sucker punch people at protests for the kids. That's only an option if you're in the WWE.
Okay. I want you to find by the time you leave this autonomous zone, I want you to give $10 to one African American person.
All white people must give black people $10.
And back rubs. Your hands are soft and unworked.
They are light with privilege and nimble without the weight of the oppression of your ancestors on your fingers. You can really get in there, you know?
There's only like 7 black people there, so it would actually work out pretty well for them.
How much you want to bet that dude hit up the black people afterward asking for a cut? He was like, I mean, it was my idea.
It's not quite 40 acres and a mule, but hey, they only have like 6 blocks between all of them.
Can we just give all our $10 to one black guy and then he can redistribute it?
Yeah, like trickle-down reparations.
What's more American than giving all the wealth to one guy and then hoping they do something good with it? Some of the residents that now live inside CHOP have been complaining about some late-night noise.
They keep saying it's not a festival, but when I hear noise complaint, I think party.
They were like, last time we called about a noise complaint, they threw flashbangs and tear gas, and that just made it louder.
I know there's some important stuff going on, but I need my 8 hours.
I wonder if every civil rights movement had some guy who was just trying to sleep the whole time. The revolution will not be so loud, please.
If it was televised, at least I could mute it and get some goddamn rest.
Some people say this is reminiscent of the Occupy Wall Street movement, which was also a failure, so I see the comparison.
A bunch of young white people who went to college on their parents' dime, fighting the system by hanging out and playing hacky sack.
Most people who are there are just bored and looking for a fun summer activity. Like, once the pools open again, you'll see a lot less people at this protest.
Not everything is opened up yet, but the weather is finally nice, and they're not ready to admit yet that they're also sick of quarantine.
One of the people they interviewed said the long-term goal of CHOP is to get a community center.
People want to turn the police station into a community center, which I'm so here for.
They're like, we want another park. That'll solve it.
I don't think Raz is the leader, but it sounds like they certainly could use one.
We're all unsure of how this will end, but if history has taught us anything, it'll end the same way it started.
With police and tear gas.
With basic Geneva Convention rules being broken.
Yeah. With citizens' rights being thrown to the side.
And people who are just protesting treated like a paramilitary fucking terrorist organization. At least we can see Guantanamo Bay open up again. It'll be nice this time of year.
Can't wait for the CHOP trials to take place later this year.
And then the CHOP riots.
Yeah, the riots because the trial doesn't go the way they wanted it to.
The trial about the riots didn't go great, so we're going to riot. Because, I mean, it's the only way anyone listens to anything.
We're taking over 2 parks this time.
The government's like, we're not going to listen to anything unless you break all our shit. Then we'll listen to something. Like, if you just listen to something, maybe this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, we'll listen, but then we're also going to complain that you broke our shit.
And, like, the cops are really big brother in that, like, they're your older brother when you were, like, 8. If you have any chickens, send them to CHOP. I think they're hiring chickens right now. I think that's real. They need farm stuff.
They need like soil probably too, because it's in a city. It's mainly concrete.
Yeah, the thing about communes is they work a lot better when you have land to farm. Not like that's why they took over a park. They're like, We need something. We need some dirt. This is the only dirt I could find in the whole city.
I think you need at least a well to be a commune.
Don't you need like a guy who can have sex with all your wives for it to be a commune?
Some sort of mission statement, possibly.
Yeah. If some guy starts banging everyone's wife, then we know what this actually is.
Oh, we've seen this.
The old Waco method. Hope it doesn't end like that.
It won't end like that just because it's outside, at least. So.
Yeah, right. There's somewhere where people can go.
They could run easier.
Hey, but the police are pretty good at stopping people from running. So who knows, man? Well, stay safe out there, Chazzy Chop guys. Hey, keep throwing that frisbee. We'll have equal rights soon. All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Willie Simon, or as you may know me, Left Baby.
And I'm Eric Freedman. Right, baby.
We hope you're enjoying Two Dumb Babies, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, then you're probably not going to.